Well, hello everybody. Welcome to another Saturday with American in Crimea. We're trying the second new set of software out today, so let's see how it goes. Uh, I hope we're live on YouTube. I know we're live on RooTube anyway. So tonight we have Timothy producing for us in the background. And we will see what we have. Uh, if he signals there's no problems, we will continue. Um, he's testing the chat, and yep, I got the chat came through, so it came through, Timothy. Thank you. And I can also see messages on RooTube, so that's new here. And so tonight, we've got three things basically we're going to talk about. And that is the new Russian SIM card laws. That is by special request. And I won't talk too much on it because I actually have somebody going through the process who is in the audience tonight. And then we'll talk about some of Trump's executive orders. I had a guest who is a guy real big on seeing these documents released and the whole conspiracy bit, but unfortunately, he could not make it tonight. So you get me and you guys and your questions. Jay, hello, thank you. And yep, so Michael is the guy going through the Russian SIM card law thing. So, for those of you who are not aware, as of January 1st, Russia has new regulations on the purchase and use of SIM cards affecting foreign nationals. And basically, it means that you have to purchase a SIM card in person. You cannot get an eSIM anymore. You have to have biometric data submitted to the government, which can be done through a bank. But in order to do that, you have to have a SNILS and a Gosaslugi account. But to get a Gosaslugi account, you have to have a Russian SIM card. So you have to put the horse before the cart in order to get the cart in front of the horse. But the cart will not go behind the horse unless the horse is in front. And so it's all interesting. So they're also limiting the number of SIM cards that an individual can buy that's a foreigner. No more than 10 SIM cards. Why one foreigner needs 10 SIM cards, I wouldn't know, although I guess I have 3. But and if you already have a Russian SIM card, you have to verify it by July 1st. And you have to give the IMEI of the phone that it'll be used in. Now, as far as the actual process and how it works, I'm not going to share that secret with everybody tonight. So Michael has graciously agreed to do a pay-per-view with me, giving you his experience going through it, the things he's found you have to watch out for that he's had to correct, and basically how to get it done well. Unfortunately, he doesn't have his verified Gosaslugi account. So, and again, we have some ways around that, but we will keep that for a stream between us. So, and that will be pay per view. We'll make it reasonable though. Hey, Mr. W, how are you? But thank you, Michael, for agreeing to do that with me. And he's heading back tomorrow, if I recall correctly, to the United States. Bez SIM card. So Russian Bez is without. So look for that stream to come in the near future. It is doable, and he has everything in place other than waiting for Snills to get entered into Gasa so that he has a verified account. And yeah, Timothy's saying all we're seeing in the studio are YouTube messages. That would be the same as in StreamYard, but I do have a YouTube chat window open on the other side. And I have Loud Quiet over on YouTube asking where exactly in Crimea I live. I live exactly on the southern border. That's as close as I'll get you. I'm in the Yalta Oblast, Loud, but I do not give more specifics than that because of my background, what I do for a living, and the region we live in. So, Serge, hey, good to see you, bro. Serge is one of my co-hosts when we stream about the Soviet Union, history stuff, all kinds of cool stuff. I guess I should button my top button, huh? Anyway, so I'm just going to tell you what Loud Quiet is saying over here on RooTube. He says, the sim you're using to register in Gasa Slugi isn't supposed to belong to you, actually. Actually, you are incorrect. The law says it is supposed to be your SIM card because then you have to go through the process of changing it later and that you can use someone else's SIM card. So like I say, I'm not going to get into that because we're going to do a pay-per-view on that. So we'll make it cheap. It'll cost you $1 or so to get in to see it, but got to generate some revenue here. So yeah, Christopher, you have inactive Russian cards. So yeah, if you're here before July 1st, you should be able to reactivate them, but you will have to go through the whole Gasa Slugi thing. So when we do the pay-per-view, we will go through the actual laws, what's required, what you can get away with doing, not necessarily what's legal to do. And of course, depends on the bank you're dealing with too, as to whether you need a Russian number or not. So we always have ways to get around things if we have to. So that said, that's all I'm going to say on that particular topic. If I can find my show notes, this software actually has teleprompter capability in it. And unfortunately, I did not get it into the teleprompter. So I'm going back and forth between two windows here. 3 if I count the YouTube comments. But Loud and Quiet, thank you for your input. You are correct on what you said. And like I say, we will address those things. So really what I wanted to talk about, like I say, I had somebody that was going to come on with me tonight, and he's big into the 9/11. Ninjaru, hey, how you doing? It's night here. It's daytime for you, isn't it? I don't know what time it is there, but yeah, it's night here. Daytime for a lot of people in the audience. So, so he can't be with us. So we're just going to talk about the summary of Trump's executive orders on releasing the JFK, RFK, and MLK documents. And I've seen a lot of chatter about this. And a lot of people, I've got a friend in Germany who, um, said, no, his executive order says he's going to release everything. And I said, don't hold your breath. So I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. So the key points of these orders, there's actually two of them. And the key points is that there will be a full review of classified materials. He has ordered all federal agencies to review assassination-related records that are still classified. And the agencies must justify any continued withholding of documents. So this will not be everybody sees everything. He's really emphasized in these orders the transparencies of the government, and that the default position of the US government should be full disclosure unless compelling national security interests are proven. Sorry. And so the agencies have been given deadlines to complete their review and either release the documents or provide detailed reports. I don't remember off the top of my head what it was, but it was like 15 days for the JFK documents, and I think it was 60 days for the other two sets of documents, something like that. But the JFK stuff is supposed to be done in 15 days. And the records, this is the key phrasing, records that are deemed safe for release must be made accessible to the public promptly. So what are the implications of this? While the executive orders promise full transparency, complete declassification of sensitive material remains very uncertain at this point. Agencies can argue for withholding the records, citing national security, privacy, or other concerns. The other thing is, and I've mentioned this and people have disagreed with me, that it's likely that many of the documents will be heavily redacted, as seen in prior releases of government documents. Sensitive information about intelligence sources, methods of obtaining the information, or foreign government cooperation might remain classified. The success of these orders largely depends on whether the administration enforces compliance by federal agencies. Reports explaining why certain records can't be released may themselves be classified, which then frustrates the efforts towards transparency. So, these orders could address longstanding doubts and conspiracy theories about government involvement or negligence in the assassinations, or if they're not fully released or they're heavily redacted, it may fuel skepticism rather than resolve questions. So let's be aware of that. Similar orders, including those under the JFK Records Act of 1992, have resulted in partial disclosures and often heavily redacted. So Trump's orders, while ambitious, may face bureaucratic resistance or national security pushback, potentially resulting in delays or incomplete transparency. Yes, Timothy. We're completely transparent if you have the correct security clearance. So, and sometimes not even then. So, ultimately, the executive orders will likely produce a mix of public disclosures and heavily redacted documents, accompanied by reports that outline what can't be released and maybe why. So without enforcement mechanisms, the full truth may remain a bit elusive to us all. So that's what I have to say on that. So I keep telling people, don't hold your breath. So even though Trump's put deadlines on it, things may get delayed. It's really stuff that's being provided for review by President Trump, and arguments about why things should or should not be released. And that's always a concern. So anybody got questions, or should I move on? Geez, Jay should be, who is we? Oh, Jill, we, as in Timothy's comment about we're completely transparent if you have the proper security clearance. We is those who do certain things for governments that will never admit they do certain things for governments, unless they aren't in the country and don't work for the governments anymore, in which case they may say a few things. But if you get my point, if you don't, Jill, ask Christopher, because Christopher knows. So, yeah, so Loud Quiet over on RooTube is actually in Crimea too. So, yeah, ping me on Telegram, Loud Quiet. I think we have my Telegram channel in here under text somewhere. Timothy and I are both trying to figure our way around this studio. So, hey, there's the channel, and you find I post in there all the time as K Michelizzi, and you can go from that, click on that, and send me a private message, Loud Quiet, and glad to talk to you. Hey, I'll point out that we have 3 viewers over on RooTube at the moment. So, hey, we're doing okay on RooTube. And when RooTube gets to the point where I'm monetized there, we will likely eliminate YouTube from our lives. I mentioned this last week. I will probably eliminate the West to Freedom channel, because right now I'm running 3 channels across multiple platforms, and it's just it's a lot of work for a guy who also works all night during the week and helps his wife run a school and is doing construction stuff. So anyway, I won't complain about my life and being busy. I will simply change some things. Those of you who are wondering, the reason I may eliminate West to Freedom is because the idea was people would go and leave American in Crimea, go over there and subscribe. But I've lost 1,200 subscribers not doing this kind of content on American in Crimea. And I've only got 200 subscribers on the other channel. So after 6 months or so of this, it's probably time for that to sunset, and we may rebrand American in Crimea a little bit. Surge, what I have on RooTube is it's under American in Crimea. The link is in the description below. However, I do my InfoWars stuff on RooTube as well. And it's primarily because they don't censor a lot of what I post up there. I will be doing a stream with my good buddy Eddie Gonzalez when he is back in Russia in about a week. And we will talk about my experience being censored on RooTube. So we will do some comparisons about Yandex or YouTube versus RooTube as far as censorship goes. The most uncensored place that we stream is on Rumble. Now, will I split American in Crimea and InfoWars into 2 things on RooTube? I don't know, because I don't do a lot on InfoWars because I'm too busy with the other two channels. So I'll eliminate one of them along the way and see if I have more time for the InfoWars stuff. If I do, I'll keep two channels. If not, I'll consolidate them all into one under playlists. So since nobody has questions or comments about Trump releasing documents, other than Timothy and Jill, we can move on to the next subject, which is his two executive orders on freedom of speech. You will find on Rumble, not on YouTube, my last couple of interviews on RT that where I talk about some of this. This is some of the stuff that RooTube will not allow me to put up there. So Rumble is glad to let the world see RT's stuff, particularly when I have written permission to repost it, but RooTube does not allow that. So Donald Trump on January 20th, day one, signed two significant executive orders aimed at reshaping the federal governance and protecting First Amendment rights. And everyone's yay, because Facebook said they're no longer going to fact check. And of course, we know X doesn't fact check. They use this community comment thing on their stuff. And Google has said that they are not going to do fact checks and stuff too. We will see how it goes under the Trump administration. Hopefully it will get better. But again, don't hold your breath. These orders, one was titled Restoring Freedom of Speech and Ending Federal Censorship, and the other one was Ending the Weaponization of the Federal Government, which is signaling Trump's commitment to addressing allegations of government overreach. Like I say, we're seeing some of the big tech companies get on board with it. If you want to know why, or my analysis of why, go out to RooTube, and in the last couple of days, I posted my comments there on that. So Timothy, on Rumble, you should be able to see it in the, I don't know which channel I put it in, and I can't tell you right now because I can't get to Rumble because I'm on a Russian server and Rumble is blocked in Russia. So it should be out there. It is probably on, I'm probably streaming it on InfoWars Press or American in Crimea interviews. So I've got several channels there. I will likely bring them together as well. Yeah, Timothy, try /C/ American Crimea interviews. And you will probably find it on Rumble there. If anyone out there is on Rumble, they can't post a message to me since I can't see them either. So I will, it should be here. American and Crimea interviews. Should be at that link. If somebody can try it, let me know. I appreciate it. And yep, so that's it. Surge is over on RooTube right now. Yay, Surge. Twitter X, he just calls it Twax. I think I'll adopt that name. So back to what we were talking about. Sorry, guys, I sometimes get a little off topic when I'm paying a bit of attention on chat rather than letting my producer produce. So anyway, the two free speech ones. So the key points of these two executive orders is restoring freedom of speech and ending federal censorship, which declares that it is U.S. policy to protect the constitutionally guaranteed free speech of Americans. It prohibits federal agencies, employees, or resources from engaging in or facilitating speech suppression. And it highlights past government coercion of social media platforms to moderate or suppress speech under the guise of combating misinformation. And that is the key comment about why the big tech guys are backing away from their fact checking. And again, go out and check on Rumble, the stream from RT. I actually talk about the fact checking because when I first moved to Russia, I set my wife up. She was doing fact checking from Meta. So Meta isn't going to fact check anymore, but there's some things you should know about fact checking. And that order also directs the Attorney General to investigate federal actions over the last 4 years that infringed on free speech and to recommend remedial measures to the president. What that means, I do not know. I don't know what remedial measures are. So the ending the weaponization of the federal government, that targets abuses of law enforcement and intelligence agencies to suppress political dissent or opponents. And we knew that would be a big Trump thing. And it identifies instances of politically motivated investigations and actions, including those against parents at school board meetings and critics of the Biden administration. Scott Ritter has picked up on this one big time. And if you haven't seen it, go read his latest article. And, he has some good comments in there. This order directs federal agencies, including the DOJ and the intelligence community, to review their practices over the last 4 years and report their findings and recommendations to the president. And this is one of the things in the order why I say don't hold your breath. They're directing the federal agencies to investigate themselves. So this is like finding the kids sitting at the kitchen table with the cookie jar and crumbs all over the table and saying, I want you to investigate who took the cookies out of that cookie jar. I'm not sure how that works, but I don't have a lot of high hopes in this one. And it establishes a framework for accountability for prior federal misconduct. I can't speak tonight. So what are the implications? Investigations and accountability. They're focusing on retrospective reviews and require, and this is the key in these orders again, everyone's saying, oh, it's gonna be free speech all over. They require detailed reports on past misconduct, potentially leading to the identification of individuals or departments responsible for the overreach. And this process may expose instances where government agencies coordinated with third parties like social media companies to suppress free speech and enforce political agendas. Now, I'm surprised that Elon Musk is not the guy heading up this, And he's doing the, is our money being spent well stuff. But, considering he's one of the guys who eliminated it when he bought Twox, is that what you called it, Serge? And questions I will get to shortly. So the order stops short of mandating immediate changes to federal agencies or policies. They focus on generating reports and recommendations, and the impact will depend on the extent to which the administration acts on these findings and implements concrete reforms. So they do set the stage for accountability and policy shifts rather than directly altering government operations. So they could result in systematic changes or remain symbolic. It really depends on the follow through. So is it changes in practice or symbolism? The orders articulate ambitious goals, and their immediate effect appears to be the production of reports and assessments rather than actionable policy changes. This focuses or suggests a focus of laying groundwork for future reforms. And the orders may influence the culture within federal agencies, signaling a stricter stance on free speech protections. And by restricting government interference in public discourse, these orders could redefine the boundaries of federal influence over media platforms and public debate. And this shift may empower citizens and journalists, which remains uncertain until the investigations are complete. So the key questions for me on this and the challenges in this deal are, to what extent did the Biden administration coordinate with social media platforms or other entities to suppress dissenting opinions? Since I worked in this area in the United States, I can tell you they did it not only under Biden, but also under Trump. So, by focusing on the last 4 years, they're specifically focusing on the Biden administration. But at my time in doing these things in the United States, that was during the Trump administration. So just some thoughts on that deal. Will individuals targeted under Biden's administration, such as journalists, critics, or political opponents, receive justice or compensation for alleged abuses? Again, I wouldn't hold my breath. I think it'll be a finger scolding and maybe some lower levels being thrown under the bus in the name of, see, I've done something. And the other question is, how will the orders address international cooperation, such as the alleged involvement of the Ukrainian government and U.S. agencies in targeting U.S. citizens? That's actually a comment or a question that I got from Scott Ritter. So because of the, the famous Ukrainian list of people who are information terrorists, which was funded by and is hosted by our friends in Virginia, United States, those with the security clearances. So ultimately, these executive orders are statements of intent that signal Trump's priorities. Their success in reshaping government practices will hinge on his ability to enforce accountability and implement substantive reforms based on the findings of these reviews. So it is not mandating the, free speech. It's mandating a review of what's been done and recommendations on what can be changed. So I will scroll through the comments a little bit. Um, so, choo 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 choo. Yep, Michael's in Sochi. Yeah, the passport guy, Michael's saying the passport guys at the airport kept them for an hour interview. I've heard people who get 4 hour interviews, and I've heard of people who get no interviews. So it just depends. What you need to remember about the guys at the border is the border control guys are checking your passport. If you get interviewed, you're being interviewed by security services, and they are masters of reading people. I cannot stress this enough. They will be your best friends, and they are masters at getting people to talk. So it depends on how you behave when you cross the border, how you're dressed, what's on your phone, what your stated purposes are for entering Russia, as to how long you will end up being questioned by them. Yeah, yeah, I have to put this one up, Timothy. 3 words or 3 letters, however you want to put it. Loud and Quiet over on YouTube wants to know why I can't post the videos that I do on RT over on YouTube. And he's asking if it's some kind of copyright. They require, if I want to post interviews that I do on RT, to get I have 4 contracts they sent me that I have to sign, guaranteeing that I have the rights and that I will put disclaimers all over them about who owns the content and that I have permission to reuse it. I actually do state I have express written consent, but they want it from the chief editor of RT, and I'm not that highly connected at RT to get her to pat me on the back and say, yeah, Kevin, I'm glad to sign these contracts saying that you can post our content out there. So that's really what it comes down to. I have the express written consent of the producers I work with, which should be good enough, but it's not. So YouTube will not allow that. And of course, YouTube doesn't allow it to be streamed because it's RT content and RT's been banned from YouTube. So this will be a test of these freedom of speech and, Google saying that they aren't going to censor YouTube anymore. We'll see how they start reacting with reuse of content like that. So I have my doubts. Yeah, so I didn't catch these. My producer, thank God for having a producer in the background. Michael said, all of my Russian acquaintances, friends, and contacts here in Russia are continuously asking for my opinion on Trump. I get the same question. And really, the only answer I can give them is I think in 2016, he was a much better choice than Hillary Clinton. I think in 2020, he would have been a much better choice than Biden. I think many, many people agree with that now. And, I don't think he is the worst choice for president. I also do not think he is what the United States needs in a leader. But you aren't going to find a Vladimir Putin in the United States to come in and fix all of the United States' problems. I did see where the Republicans are putting forth a measure to allow presidents to hold 2 consecutive terms in office, which would allow Trump to run again. However, Trump's getting up there in ages too. I think they need to start considering some age limits on presidents and senators, and these guys who are 95 years old holding office aren't in touch with the real people and doing the old thing. And hasn't RT also been ejected from the USA? Christopher can clarify this more than I can because I'm not there. My understanding is they have been termed a foreign agent. Sorry, losing my voice. They have been deemed a foreign agent, and many of their people were not registered and they've been ejected. Christopher, are they actually blocked in the United States? I think you can still view their streams, just not the lives. Is that correct? I'll wait for Christopher to answer. So, since I'm not there, I don't know specifically. My understanding is that, their sites and their channels have been taken off TV, but you can still see them on the internet. So, that's what I have to say about that. Questions? No questions tonight. I thought with Trump and these orders, there'd be some questions about why I'm thinking the way I am. We're 42 minutes into the stream because we started late. It's quarter till. I'll take a few minutes and I'll tell you. Because some of this didn't actually make it out on RT. It was going to go into an article, and I don't know if the article ever got posted because I never found it. And Trump, good. Trump, good. It's interesting because I can read the comment over in the comments. On the screen, it is using a really strange font, and I can't read it. So I do not read that as Govereet, although I understand that is handwriting. And I can't read the handwriting. I always see the T's as M's, and so that part of English is stuck in my mind. So yeah, you can get on their phone and watch RT on the internet. Yeah, management is out. U.S. employees let go, and I'll tell you this. I found this. I've made the other. Some of the other expats that I talk to on a regular basis know that we are all considered foreign agents in Russia. Any foreigner who is generating content of any kind, like on YouTube, RuTube, anything like that, are technically foreign agents and have to register as foreign agents in the country. You can see this if you take Yandex browser and you open up one of my videos. It will give you a warning saying that this content is illegal under Russian Federation law. This is being streamed by a foreign agent. Good news for me as a Russian citizen, I have already been told that it does not apply to me, despite the fact that they think I'm a foreigner streaming content, and that's because my account is registered in the United States. So read in English, Timothy's telling me. Post in English, I'll read in English. You want me to think at this time of night. Hey, It's 10 o'clock at night here. And I was up working till 4 o'clock in the morning last night. So, um, yeah. So, um, over on YouTube, Loud and Quiet says, as Russian, I have no question about Trump. Everything is clear to us. Nothing's going to change. Nothing's probably going to change. I agree. I saw this big slew of comments in American Telegram channels today about the fact that Donald Trump has stopped aid to Ukraine and therefore Ukraine is going to fall apart. And that was actually from a Russian source, a Russian news channel that I won't name, that should know better and should check things a little bit better. That is not true. He has suspended aid for most foreign foreign governments for 90 days. He has stopped aid to Ukraine for exactly 100 days, and that was, I think, yesterday that he announced that. But let's analyze that a little bit. It is my opinion, and I often don't like talking about my opinion without having facts to back it up. So it is my opinion that President Putin has on occasion said that without the support of the United States, the special military operation would be ended in about 90 days. I think this is a negotiation tactic for Donald Trump because he's already said, this is what I want in a peace deal. Ukraine says they'll agree to it. And of course, Ukraine says, and he's come out and said, Russia, you will agree to it. He actually threatened the Russian government. He says, you will agree to it, or I will take more sanctions out on you on everything. I will apply tariffs to everything that you sell to the United States. Well, and he's going to call OPEC and have the price of oil lowered. Well, the problem is he's likely giving 90, 100 days to the Russian Federation so that at the end of it, he can say, see, President Putin didn't tell the truth. We quit supporting Ukraine and the conflict didn't end. So I think it is a political move to do that. Threatening Russia with more sanctions isn't going to work. This is the most sanctioned country in the world right now. And, has it harmed Russia in some areas? Yeah. But let's keep in mind who is actually sanctioned. It's the citizens of the Russian Federation. It's the citizens of foreign countries living in the Russian Federation. The United States is still buying gas and oil from Russia because that's exempt under the sanctions. They're still allowed to pay a Gazprom bank for gas and oil that they then claim is theirs, that they then sell to Europe at a much higher price. So they're selling US oil and gas supposedly to Europe, but then they're importing Russian oil and gas for domestic use. So, yeah. And threatening Russia doesn't work. So I don't know. You can't dictate things. Trump has a big mouth, and apparently he doesn't realize that Russia is part of OPEC Plus and has a much closer relationship with OPEC than the United States does. So, that likely isn't going to work. And, how well did that oil cap work for them? Not very well. So that said, if we have no further questions, 4 people watching on YouTube, I'm happy. And likes on YouTube. Let's get some likes and subscriptions on YouTube as well. So, I'll bet which. Hey, good to see you, buddy. Sorry, I have an awful cold and I'm losing my voice. So if there's no questions, we're going to wrap this up. And I haven't heard any complaints about the video quality like we had last week. And I think Timothy and I can figure this studio software out. It's a little clunkier than StreamYard is. It's not as old as StreamYard, but I happen to know the guy who runs support for, we're streaming in Talk Studio by Streamlabs tonight. Just in case anybody is wondering, it is now less than half the price of StreamYard. I made some suggestions to them probably 6 months ago about things to change that made it unusable for me, and they've actually implemented changes. So thank you, Jeff from Talk Studio at Streamlabs. I appreciate the support. Let's see, Christopher, you're going to inflict sanctions that are less restrictive than Biden's. Yep. So anyway, since we, Serge, it was good seeing you too. Gotta have you on again. We need to find some things to talk about and stream together. So it's really strange because I look over at YouTube and I'm frozen. Oh, it's just slow over there now. So there's a marked delay between what I see in the studio and what you guys see. And you guys chatting away in Russian out there. Jeez. And Timothy telling me to read everything in English. So last one, Christopher Anon. This is Trump taking out the Clintoids. This is a power struggle. But at the inauguration, Trump didn't say a word about the economy. So he doesn't have a plan. But there's an economic crisis in the USA right now. I actually agree with that comment. He has all along in his campaign been talking about the economy, and he's very pro big business, which they claim will improve the economy. We will see. Maybe it'll improve the economy when he buys Canada and Greenland and renames the Gulf of Mexico and finishes the wall, and Mexico pays off their debt for that wall being built. Who knows? Have faith, Americans. That said, I am going to wrap it up, and we will talk to you all later. If you don't have a YouTube account, go over there, sign up, follow the channel, watch a few of the older videos over there. If I can get 5,000 hours of watch time or 5,000 views, it isn't even hours, 5,000 views over there, I get monetized, and I've got 1,000 views already just in the couple of short weeks we've been over there. So, I'm not telling you to leave YouTube. I actually am now again getting some money from YouTube. So, and ultimately, if you don't want censorship, go to Rumble. So, have 3 platforms. You can get it all then. So, everybody, thank you for coming. It has been a pleasure seeing y'all. Serge, sorry. Everybody on Rumble, I'm sorry I can't put your comments up on the screen. I wish I could. Wish I had a way to get them on the screen. Now I can reply to your comments over there. Can't put them up in the stream though. Oh well. So anyway, everybody, thanks for coming. We'll see you next week. I think Eddie's back in the next week or so. I'll follow up with him. We'll start up our Sunday streams with him. And, leave some comments down below and let me know what kind of content you'd like to see. If you like the political analysis stuff, I'll do some more of that. The interview stuff is kind of worn out. I can do Life in Crimea stuff when I have time. I just don't have time right now. So let me know what you'd like to see, and we'll put it on the to-do list. And that is that. Video. I wonder if I play the outro, if it will end the stream, or if I have to end the stream to play the outro. So let's find out. I'm going to click the end the stream button and see what happens. See y'all later. Thanks for coming, friends.
С чего начинается Родина? С окошек горящих вдали, со старой отцовской буденовки, что где-то в шкафу мы нашли. А может, она начинается со стука вагонных колес, из клятвы, которую в юности ты ей в своем сердце принес. С чего начинается род?